I'm Mel Stewart, and this is SwimSwam Podcast. Joining me today, we have a Arizona alum, an Olympian. Uh, this athlete swam at Commonwealth Games, probably a lot of other big events that where I swam too, which makes us brothers. Today, we're talking to the Vice President of Malmsten, Simon Percy. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great. Good to see you, Mel.
This episode of the SwimSwam Podcast is sponsored by Commit Swimming, SwimSwam's exclusive team management software partner. Since 2015, Commit has been providing coaches with swimming's leading workout management software. And now, Commit has team management software too. Commit wants to help you make the switch from Team Unify to a simpler, more powerful solution. Their onboarding and customer service team will walk you through every step of the way. Check them out at commitswimming.com to book your demo today. That's COMMIT swimming.com.
How did I do? Did I pronounce Malmsten?
You got it right. You took the notes, you applied you did the work, and you got it right. Well done.
So as a little backstory, it's hard to miss Simon. Simon probably should have been a football linebacker if he were reared in the United States. He's a New Zealander, and so I saw him at the big convention, and he pulled me aside and he said, "Mel, we need to work on your pronunciation of Malmsten." And we practiced, and I've been practicing.
Yeah, I can see you did the work. That's the important part.
Yeah, well, you know what? I enjoyed that conversation, and it was one of the most meaningful conversations I've had because it kind of dovetails with some messaging that you guys put out today on SwimSwam, which we're going to be leveraging on social media as soon as we're off this podcast. But it was a cool piece, and it's really about, hey, we've made strides in terms of coaching, and you've coached, you've had a long coaching career, but you can't overlook the technology and the development of technology. And some of the biggest places that some of the best gains we've made have been in lane 9 technology. And I was blown away because you walked me through everything. And I'd like to have that conversation again.
Yeah. No, let's do it. So, and don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to dismiss or underestimate what coaches have done and what athletes have done from the time we swam or before to what they're doing today. It's amazing, and the leaps forward and what we know now about coaching and nutrition and rest is infinitely better than what we had, but there's other things to look at too.
Well, one of the most meaningful things I've ever heard in a podcast was something you said about coaching master swimming. And you said, this is the one moment when adults come together and they're coming to my practice and they're doing something for them. Most of the time when you're an adult, you're doing something for your spouse or for your kids or for your business or for your community. But this is something you're doing for you. And that's how you approached coaching them during that time. And I thought that was pretty profound. So yeah, that was a great moment. I'm going to frame this conversation by saying there's a lot of companies in swimming that are, let's just say they're not chlorinated, and people don't know it. They work in the background, and these companies are throwing off millions of dollars in profit. I'm not going to call them out. And swimming is just a place where they make money.
Yeah.
That is not Malmsten. Malmsten's been around since early 1970s, and the difference between a good company and a great company is a company that invests in research and development. And this company has invested in R&D, and not all companies do, at a very high level. If you remember lane lines from when you were a child, and I do, swimming at the YMCA, coughing up a lung, you could sear off an arm on those lane lines.
Yeah.
It was pretty low tech. It was like nylon, a buoy every 5 feet.
Yeah. I've seen old beat up rope. I've seen garden hoses in between the boys from, there was some pretty horrific lane lines they effectively defined a space and kept people in a certain area, but they did nothing else.
Well, take me to just give me some early iterations, because Malmsten stepped in and made some big gains early on. What's the, where did we begin?
So, to give credit where credit's due, the grandfather of lane lines is Kiefer McNeil. Kiefer was the first brainchild of the very first lane line that what I would describe as the modern lane line. And Malmsten's founder, Tommy Malmsten, back in the 70s, he's an engineer, has that engineering mindset, and a swim coach at the same time, partnered with Kiefer, working together. They built the same mold, one for the US and North America, one for the rest of the world. And Malmsten started to produce that lane line back in 1974. And working together. So that was generation one of swimming faster, of having lanes that weren't like the ocean,
50 years ago.
50 years ago. Yeah, you remember, I remember. You tell that to the kids today and they won't believe you. So
50 years ago. It's how long has Malmsten been a FINA World Aquatics partner and been producing the lane lines off
yeah,
the
so
Olympic stage?
really early on, 76 Montreal was the first Olympics we were in, with that lane line. So they began that relationship pretty early, and since then 11 Olympics, and LA will be 12. So it's a long history of Olympics. Yeah.
Big feather in your cap.
Yeah.
It's a there's pieces and parts of the story along the way that are interesting. One of that I found we have to bring up, and we've talked about it before. You always talk about it. Was that Malmsten designed a lane line so that you could sit on the lane line and
Yeah.
it wouldn't break, so you could do the celebration, because that was a thing.
Well, I would love to have you. Do you remember the ice bucket challenge and the sit on the block of ice challenge? I would love to have a lane line challenge, and my boss Mike would cringe at this, but like, I'll put my lane line up against anyone's lane line. You can sit on it. You can put the whole team on it. It's going to be fine. In fact, I have a great shot of USA water polo team in Paris, all on the lane line while the coach is talking to him, and that was our stuff too. And if you've ever been to, you've been to plenty of swim meets, but you hear the coaches say, "Get off the lane lines." You got 50 kids on the lane line because they might snap if they're not ours. So we've never had one break, and that's one of the things that we're proud of. And it's a small innovation of, like, if we change one part of the lane line up, we can make it so that at a swim meet, you're not going to have that problem. Monday through Friday, the pool manager is not going to have the problem of 400 discs floating through the pool because the lane line broke.
But it comes down to very specific. It's like it's how much you have in that cord.
Yeah,
big, it's thick, the diameter, it's more.
It's more.
It's more,
And
which costs more and cuts into profit,
more.
but you do it.
It's a higher quality of stainless steel, which costs more. It's more stainless steel, which costs more. And then there's a specific design in there that just makes it stronger, the way that it's made. So little things, but they make a difference. And if you're a swimmer, if you're an athlete, it's the little things that make the difference to performing better.
Well, in our day at the Olympics, people didn't do this, and I don't. When did they start doing it? In like the late 1990s, early 2000s, jumping up on the lane line, and I was like, is this okay? Can you do this?" I was worried that people were going to get DQ'd, or there would be some sort of violation, and World Aquatics was going to say something. But it became a thing.
I'm actually a huge fan of people celebrating their victories. As long as as long as it doesn't affect anybody else. Don't get on the lane line until everyone else is done with the race. But our sport, we have so few moments to celebrate a good swim, a good time, or a win. Celebrate it. We should enjoy the results of our work, right? So yeah, get on that lane line and jump up and down. I think people are affected positively by seeing other people be happy and enjoy themselves. Like, that stoic, I got it done, doesn't do anything for the crowd, right? And we want to attract more people to the sport. So yeah, let people enjoy themselves for their moment and then move on to the next race.
Well, I want to get specifically into the technology, but I don't want to gloss over something that just occurred to me. Malmsten's made Malmsten Inc. has made a partnership with USA Water Polo, and that's
Yeah.
relatively recent, but it's a big deal.
Yeah.
What is the partnership, and what's that about?
So as of January 1st this year, we're the official sponsor of USA Water Polo for all the equipment in the pool. So everything in the pool, the goals, the lane lines, um, ball release, matting, marking, everything except for the ball is sponsored by Malmsten. So, and I think that partnership was in part because, well, our equipment is better than everybody else's, and I say that with try to say it with some humility, but also we are the partner for Olympics, so it makes sense to, in this next quad at the very least, be working together towards a fantastic 2028.
You got USA Water Polo and a domestic Olympic run-up.
Yeah.
That's impressive. It was great. So congratulations on that move. It's
Thank you.
you guys are headquartered. Are you in Scottsdale, Arizona?
We're in Tempe.
You're in Tempe. All right. Sorry. It's so close.
It's so close, but
It's so close.
Yeah.
Are you going to be heading over, so for site prep and everything for LA 2028? Are you going to be like on the ground there early? Do you have any insight into what that looks like?
Yeah, we'll be hopefully as involved as possible with all the planning. I know swimming is looking like it's going to be in SoFi. That'll be great. I'm not 100% sure where the water polo arenas will be, but it may also be SoFi because oftentimes swimming and water polo don't overlap. So we're not sure where everything is just yet. We have a little time, but it's never too early to start preparing.
I know nothing is going to break, but just in case, do you have warehouse space on site? Do you have an 18-wheeler sitting out there in the parking lot?
I don't know how that all works yet, but so I was a little disappointed I didn't get to go to Paris. That would have been nice to have gone and seen how all that works. But the folks out of Sweden had that pretty well covered and had their hands around it pretty well. So fortunately, we've got 11 past Olympics to draw experience from, and the people running the company now, Tommy Malmsten's sons, Christian and Marcus, they've been to a lot of those Olympics. So they know it and they'll be able to pass it along to us. And I think they'll also be there. So
It's a let's get into the tech, and let's just getting into the size of the each piece. I want you to break down just energy dampening and everything that goes into that, because
Right.
it's what you share with me at the ASCA convention, the World Clinic, was pretty eye-opening. How can you get us into this topic?
Yeah. So one of the things that we've changed over the last couple of years is this technology came in 2019. Was and just to give a little background, if you haven't read the article, other than defining space, the goal of the lane line is to kill waves. We want fast swimming is done in the smoothest water possible, right? So depth of the pool affects that a little bit, but the lane lines are the first line of defense on smooth water. So wave energy dampening is the term for that. So we want the highest percentage of wave energy dampening you can get. So the previous iteration of the disc, good disc, on the 6-inch version would be 87.5%. It would kill 87.5% of the energy out of a wave, out of what the swimmer was producing. The next generation, by making the disc slightly more material and then changing the pattern of the holes that are in the disc, now kills 90.5, so 3% improvement, which again, 3% doesn't sound like much unless you're a swimmer. 3% drop in your time would be, everyone be smiling pretty ear to ear, right?
Well, when I was at the ASCA World Clinic, you said, here, hold this disc. This is what you're seeing in a lot of pools. He goes, this is our disc. This is, he goes, in the weight of it and the size and the scale and all the there's so much in it. You can just feel the detail. It's it makes sense. You know, it's something when you hold it in your hand, it is let's just say it's pronounced.
Yeah. And those kind of things come with a lot of failures along the way. So, you know, even the best engineer of the world isn't going to hit 100% of the time, right? So there was a lot of misses in creating these discs to get it to where it was. So it took 7 years of R&D to get from the previous generation to what we're using at the Olympics today.
How long does the disc last?
That's a great question. So it really depends on the environment that it's in. So, you know, in an indoor pool where the lanes don't get pulled out and put in if they just stay in the water a lot, it's going to last a lot longer. A lot of the damage happens when you pull the lane out of the pool and you hear it click over the edge as the lifeguard pulls us out. That just wears it down a little bit. And obviously, chlorinated water, chlorine stuff on the plastic. Not so much the plastic, but the colorant in there, it'll fade a little bit. So, you know, you put a lane line outside and the sun's going to wear it out a little bit more. You put it in Arizona and it's going to wear out really quickly. So, you know, so there's a lot of factors that go in there. We have lane lines that have been in pools for over 30 years and they're still being used today.
Oh wow,
That is the exception. So, but that's how long they can. And then if you go to somewhere like Arizona State University and they change that course 4 times a day and it's 120 degrees, you know, that's going to last more like 4 or 5 years.
Well, luckily there's two alums that are heading up Malmsten Inc. that right there and care a lot about that program.
Yeah, we might be helping them out a little bit, making sure those lane lines look pretty good. So
It's interesting. So you have to take into account that you're designing a product that's going to be jerked in and out of a pool, like by a young adolescent Mel Stewart, who was
Good
not
point.
was not respecting the product, not respecting that investment.
This was a job to get done as soon as we can get it done as quickly as we can, right?
Yeah, where it's just this. Yeah, we're trying to get that done fast so we can go eat.
Yeah.
So 3% improvement, and this is will there be an iteration before a release before 2028, or is this is the product we're gonna be racing in?
This will be, in all likelihood, the product that we're racing in 2028. That doesn't mean that there won't be other products that are in the pool to help swimming be even faster, that are being worked on right now. I'm happy to give you the scoop when it's time, but it's not quite time yet. So
You can't tell me now, but is this in addition to the lane lines?
yes.
So you can create products to create the glass effect. I don't know if that's a real term. I call it the
Love
glass.
that. If it's not, I love that term, the glass.
I call it the glass. When I step into a world-class event and I see people swimming, or they're in the outer lanes, they're pacing. I'm looking at how clean the water is behind them and how long it takes.
Yeah.
And I call it the glass effect. And there was a hot minute in swimming when at the NC2A level they had 3 lane lines in between each lane. Remember that?
Yeah, I do.
And then they changed the rules on that, but I really loved it because people would swim and there was white water for a split second, and then it was just glass.
Yeah. Now, you were a butterfly. Wouldn't you be hitting your hands if there were 3 lane lines in there? Wouldn't that be affecting your reach a little bit? As a backstroker, I was pulling on those lane lines, so that was great for me.
That's right. Are these lane lines designed to be pulled on? Let's just ask that question.
You can pull on them. Certainly, they weren't hurt from it, but we haven't designed that lane line yet. So
my don't do it, but I do. Yeah, that's I think that somebody out there has done the lane line pulling world record, and their name is Kyle Sockwell, and he's in Arizona. He's not an alum.
No, well, he's alumni. He's
an alum. That's right. He's an alum. That's right.
Yeah, but he got beat. He got beat hard. So Jack Dolan beat him on the pool, and Carl missed his turn. He just didn't quite hit that turn right. You know how
No,
that goes occasionally.
no, it doesn't work. It doesn't work.
Yeah.
It's so you can't share what there is in terms of wave dampening outside of a lane line, but are there products that currently exist that you can talk about that do create the dampening effect? Or is this a completely new category that you're talking about?
Yeah, no, it's a new category. There's I'm not aware of, the lane line is the primary one, depth of the pool, and obviously there was some controversy in Paris about that. Gutters make a difference how the water gets out of the pool, but really only for the outside lanes, to be honest, with that. But I'm not aware of any other products that will help dampen the water.
Hmm. Okay,
Given
it looks like we're gonna have another conversation when you can talk about it. You can talk about it now.
We'll get into it for sure.
It's it's somebody who was, you were an elite athlete, an Olympian, long career as a coach. Did you think about this before you got to business with Mike?
Not at all. In fact, I would have said that pretty much every lane line out there was a Kiefer lane line
Hmm.
because I didn't know any better. But that's not the case at all. So there's a whole lot more to it, and I think it's one of the things about our sport that's interesting. Like to give a comparison, if you're a golfer, you know exactly what type of equipment you're using and what all the pros are using, right? Like it's a big deal. What are they hitting? What kind of ball are they using? Everything. And that's a really important part of their game. Obviously, the club is ball. But we have the same thing in swimming. You remember technical suits. At that time, everyone knew were they wearing a jacket or were they wearing a blue 70 or what iteration of the latest technical suit, and that made a massive difference in times. It really that moment in history for swimming propelled the times to a new place, and we've surpassed them since. But it was really an interesting thing, and coaching through that was interesting too, because I had one swimmer get DQ'd. He hadn't worn the suit that he wore in the race prior to it. His dad had bought him this brand new suit, and he put it on for the race, and he got DQ'd because it took him 2 meters past the 15. Same number of kicks, same amount of time. He gained 2 meters out of it.
No, it's fascinating. And I've seen athletes who missed making an Olympic team because they put on a tech suit, and then they put on a tech suit that was one size too small and it cut blood off to their legs.
Right.
And yeah, there's been every iteration that you can imagine. Yeah, tech matters, but we take it for granted.
Yeah.
Say,
but only in swimming. Like we're the only sport that does.
that's true. That's true. We do.
Yeah.
We do. Other than if it's not on your body and you're feeling it, and it is about feeling, which doesn't necessarily mean it makes you faster. People take it for granted.
Yeah.
How do you feel about being taken for granted? You're like, hey, I got all this technology, this R&D, 50-year-old company. You need some love.
Yeah. Every once in a while, we should remind us, but we can improve as a sport by paying attention to more than just how hard we work in the pool. And to the credit of swimmers, and I believe this fully, we're the hardest working sport out there. But there is more to it as well. So that I think that's the message.
And so you weren't in Paris. Are you going to be in Los Angeles? I think that was a yes.
Yeah.
And then the question.
Oh, I'm going. Try and stop me.
and it's so are you in terms of, will you be on site to make sure everything is perfect, nothing happens, nothing goes wrong? And
those specifics are yet to be determined. But it's interesting. We only get 2 passes to go to. We need to have 2 people on site to make sure that if anything goes wrong, it can be taken care of and taken care of quickly. So there are 2 Malmsten sons working with Malmsten out of Sweden that I'm sure want to go as well. But I have a hard time believing that being the ones that actually made the equipment here and the US wouldn't also be there to support. So
2 passes. I would think that we would have more people on site just in case something went wrong. We got to talk to CEO Brent Nowicki at World Aquatics and be like, hey, buddy, come on. We need some more backup just in case.
Well, but there's a lot of people that are involved in putting on these events, though. So it's not it's not just the lane lines, but the Omega people will be there, and all the other equipment that needs to be there. So yeah,
You're very humble. Well, I want to know when there's a potential next announcement, because you're talking about wave dampening technology.
yeah.
That is a new category, and let's is there a horizon on that? Is this something where we're a year out, 2 years out, or is this going to be right before LA 2028?
Mel,
And talk about it.
you can't rush genius, Mel. You can't rush genius. So so there are iterations in front of World Aquatics now. And it's a process to get things approved as well. So I don't, like I said, I don't think it'll be, well, maybe it'll be in 28. It'd be cool if it's in 28. That'd be a huge one. So
This is a little bit off topic, but it's you brought it up. A lot of people were there was a lot of commentary about how the depth of the pool in Paris.
Yeah.
And for me, it was like, hey, this was a great venue, got a lot of people, a lot of eyeballs on swimming. In reality, everybody's swimming under the same conditions, and we don't really remember times. Sometimes we remember times if you're a swimming nerd, but most people, it's about who won.
Yeah.
Is it something, but now that you're so deep into the tech and so deep into wave dampening technology, is this something that you find yourself a little more annoyed with or focused on?
Yeah.
Did you have feelings when you saw that pool?
I thought it looked great. And I agree 100% with you. As long as everyone's swimming under the same conditions, it's still fair. And it's not like world records weren't broken in that pool. So I'm not sure you can put a brush across it and say it was a slow pool, but it wasn't the fastest Olympics that we've seen. So perhaps the depth of the pool could have affected that. But I think it was still 7.5 feet, which is generally considered adequate.
The pool in Omaha, when United States Swimming went to their scaled up Olympic trials in 2008, and also when it was in Southern California outside, and they had seating a little over 5,000, they were doing the temporary pools. The athletes did talk behind the scenes about there being a vibration, like it was giving and it was creating a wave. And but they've improved that over the years. So it makes sense that if you're improving your temporary pool technology, having this having the best lane lines in the world matters. And also, if there's this other category, that's going to matter greatly too, that you can't talk about. Have you seen that? So I brought it up 4 more times to see if you would slip.
I think that would be there'd be a serious conversation if I let that slip. But I'm happy to tease the idea anyway.
No, I do like it. All right. Well, I always enjoy the conversation, and guys, if you're out there and you're listening, you ever get a chance to see Simon in person, or you're certainly at an aquatic convention, you need to take the opportunity and say, "Hey, walk me through this. Show me the difference," because it's pretty eye opening. Great product, very impressive. You got to be proud of being a part of this team. When can we have you back on?
I'm open for a swimming conversation anytime, and that's why I love being part of this company. It's all about swimming. It's all about aquatics. It's great.
All right, good talking to you.
Thank you, Mel.
You've been listening to the SwimSwam Podcast. Stay tuned for new episodes every week. You can take SwimSwam Podcast on the go by subscribing on your favorite podcast platform. Look for links in the description below, and be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more videos as well.